We spent a total of 9 days exploring the Washington, D.C. area. In this video, we're going to share what we're calling our museum extravaganza. Although we had already visited a couple of museums in our first few days in D.C., days 6 through 9, we really packed them in. Here are some of our D.C. museum highlights. The National Museum of African American History and Culture is a must-see museum for anyone visiting Washington, D.C. Like all Smithsonian museums, it is free, but it does require a timed entry ticket, so plan ahead to get that. Plan for at least a half day, if not an entire day here. You begin the museum 3 floors underground and work your way chronologically upstairs. Along the way, there are many artifacts, beautiful displays, as well as multimedia aspects of it with video and clips and music. There are also large-scale displays like a full-size rail car and lunch counter and a Tuskegee Airman airplane.
threatened to bring them to President Roosevelt's door. Randolph's actions forced Roosevelt to rethink his earlier position, and he signed an executive order banning discrimination in defense industries.
smell it, pretty good, and get out of there as much as you can. The 332nd Fighter Group earned the name for themselves of being the people who would escort those bombers to the target, stay with them, protect them, and get them back home.
The Tuskegee Airmen flew more than 15,000 sorties.
While this museum was difficult to see at times, it was so important and meaningful and well done, and we are so thankful that we got to spend a day here.
The American paradox of race is a lesson for hip-hop art. I'm making history by raising my.
The next museum on our list was the National Museum of American History.
I love Bob Ross. Where's the signature? The bottom one. On the bottom?
Unfortunately, when we were there, at least half of it was closed due to renovations that they were doing, so we missed out on a whole bunch of it, we're pretty sure. We had fun, but only spent a couple of hours here, and that'll just be something that we have to add to our list to come back and see in its totality the next time we visit Washington, D.C. The next day, we drove out to a Smithsonian museum that's not actually on the National Mall. Out by Dulles Airport is the Udvar-Hazy Air and Space Museum. It's also free like the other Smithsonian museums, but there is a parking fee of $15. Plan to spend the entire day here. It is huge and absolutely amazing. We've been to a lot of air and space museums, and this one is by far the best one we've been to. The museum is divided into two sections, one for mainly airplanes and helicopters and all things aviation, from the SR-71 to a Blue Angels F-18 to a Corsair, a P-51, and the famous Enola Gay B-29 Super Fortress that became the first aircraft to drop an atomic bomb. But there's also other types of aircraft like ultralights and balloon and airship displays. If it flies, you'll be able to find it here. The other section of the museum is dedicated to space flight and technology. And the coolest thing there is the Space Shuttle Discovery. It is absolutely amazing. There are capsules, rockets, rovers, satellites, control centers, and all kinds of other things. You can even look over into their restoration hangar where they're working on new aircraft that they're going to be bringing into the museum. We absolutely loved spending our day at the Udvar-Hazy Center. This is for sure on the top of our list of things to do in Washington, D.C. Although we had already seen the Washington Monument from the outside on a previous day, we had finally scored timed entry tickets to go up to the top. After going through security, we took the 70-second elevator ride 500 feet up to the top.
Oh no.
Here we go.
Hello. On behalf of the National Park Service, I would like to welcome you to the Washington Monument. This elevator is taking you up 500 feet to the observation level. The monument is actually 555 feet, 5 1/8 inches tall, and at the time of its completion in 1884, that height made it the world's tallest structure. That didn't last too long, however, because just 5 years later, in 1889, the Eiffel Tower was completed, which is nearly twice as tall as this. But since this has to be the world's tallest something, the Washington Monument has been determined to be the world's tallest freestanding stone structure, meaning there is no steel support inside. It's just stone upon stone, held together by gravity, and everyone holding their breath. It's pretty impressive. When you get to the top, take your time looking out of the windows. When you're ready to go back down, walk down one flight of steps to the 490-foot level. If you're not able to take stairs, feel free to take the elevator. On the 490-foot level, you will find a small museum that will give you more information on the construction of the monument, and it is where you will get on the elevator to go back down to the ground. Enjoy your visit.
Oh, that was quick.
Ow, my ear.
To the east, we could see the National Mall and all of the museums, all the way down to the U.S. Capitol building. To the south, we looked out over the tidal basin. Sometime we'll have to be here when all of those cherry trees are in bloom. To the west, we could see the World War II Memorial and reflecting pool down to the Lincoln Memorial. To the north, we saw the Ellipse and the White House. We just so happened to be up there right as a motorcade was loading up and rolling out from the south lawn.
Please go in front.
Well, there's a police motorcycle in front and then a police car.
Right, and then I'll...
And then all the cars. Yeah, it's like a full motorcade is what they call that.
So the president is probably in one of those?
Probably. Or the vice president or... After we finished at the observation level, we went down one floor to the little museum. In the museum, there are displays about the history of the building, the engineering, and even what happens when the lightning strikes. Next, we went to the Museum of the Bible, which is not part of the Smithsonian Museum, so there is a fee involved, about $20 for adults and $14 for kids. We spent about a half day here, though we could have spent longer. We started out on the 3rd floor, where the stories of the Bible were. We started our day in an immersive recreation of 1st century Nazareth. There were several living history presentations throughout the exhibit. Next, we went through the Hebrew Bible experience, which was an absolutely incredible walkthrough presentation of 15 different stories. Then we experienced the New Testament theater. Unfortunately, we could not take any video or photographs in either of these, but they were great. Then we moved on to the History of the Bible, which contained hundreds of artifacts. We also visited Illuminations, which highlights Bible translations and the lack of so many needed translations from around the world. Next, we saw the exhibit called The Impact of the Bible, about how the Bible has influenced our world. There were more living history presentations, like a demonstration of a printing press.
We have one page out of the Latin Vulgate Bible. Who'd like to take my Latin quiz? And here's another, I assume that's maybe an 8.
Last, we visited a temporary exhibit about the Magna Carta. Here they displayed an original 1217 Magna Carta, one of only 4 known to still exist. Our last day in Washington, D.C., we spent the morning at the National Air and Space Museum. It is another free Smithsonian museum. However, beginning in October of 2022, timed entry tickets will be required. When we were there, the majority of the museum was under renovation and closed to the public. But what was open to view was awesome. As we entered, we immediately saw the original Spirit of St. Louis. After seeing replicas at many other museums, it was fun to finally see the real one. We also got to see Spaceship One, a lunar module, and the Bell X-1 flown by Chuck Yeager. Next, the kids had fun in an interactive area that taught all about the science of flight. In the space area, there was a full-scale mock-up of the Hubble telescope, the backup Skylab space station, and many missiles. finally, there's a whole room dedicated to the Wright brothers with the original 1903 Wright Flyer. While we only got to see a portion of this museum on this trip, we will definitely be back as they're opening 8 brand new galleries in October of 2022. All right, so we're wrapping up our time here in Washington, D.C. We've been here a little over 2 weeks, and 9 of those days have been morning to night exploring all day, doing all the fun things, and our feet are tired.
Our legs are sore.
Yeah, it has, I think we've calculated that we've walked about 60 miles in those 9 days that we were out exploring.
We took the metro, and that was a great experience. So it was super clean. Most of DC, we were surprised at how clean it was. So everything was really clean. People were extremely friendly. We asked the kids, what was your favorite part? What did you enjoy the most? And they all had different things to say. Yeah, I mean, Emmett, of course, he's our rock hound. And so he loved the Natural History Museum, specifically the Gems and Minerals Gallery, and seeing the Hope Diamond and a chunk of a meteorite, and anything where he could touch rocks, he's happy with. Katya loved seeing the National Archives and seeing the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And of course we had to watch National Treasure again, the movie. And that was really fun to say, hey, we were there and we went there. And since we'd just been in Philadelphia too, when they were at Independence Hall, and although we know some of that was actually not shot in Independence Hall, that was really shot in Hollywood, but it was fun anyway. And what did Dominic say was his favorite? I think the Air and Space Museum.
Oh, probably, yeah. The Air and Space Museum, the Udvar-Hazy one that's out in Chantilly next to the Dulles Airport.
It was amazing.
I mean, that was amazing. That was probably all of our, in the top 3 for everyone. Baylis really loved going up in the Washington Monument to get the big view of the whole mall and the city and everything, and so she really loved that. Today is September 12th. So we were here in the city for September 11th. Unfortunately, the events, the memorial at the Pentagon was not open to the public or anything, so we didn't really get to go participate in that, but we could actually see the Tower of Light all the way from where we are staying in Maryland. We could see it up in the night sky. It was a little hazy, but we could see it. I don't know, it was just really special to see that. But anyway, it's been great.
Yeah, and we cut yesterday early because we thought it's going to get really crowded with all the September 11th. They had a concert down there and all kinds of stuff. And with young kids, we thought it might be a little bit easier just to cut in early and start getting ready to go and pack up and things like that. But it was great. We thought we've spent 2 weeks here, and that felt like about the perfect amount of time. We're about museumed out, so we've visited so many museums.
Yeah,
and
it was great though, and we have still so many things that we could come back here and do. We did a lot. I had a whole list of things,
like our must-dos,
and we did all of them except for I think 2 things that we didn't get done. And there was things that we couldn't do because of COVID and other restrictions. I mean, we couldn't do a White House tour, Capitol tour. They're not doing those right now. So there's definitely things to do when we come back again next time. Yeah, we loved it all. It was great. It's a great city. Everybody's super nice, and we'd highly recommend coming. It's a great place to be. We loved it.